YouTube. We're here with a very special guest. We got Grampy with us. The man, the myth, the legend.
Hello, people.
You haven't been here in a minute. You guys been up in Maine.
Yeah. Been almost 2 years.
That's crazy. COVID
crap, you know?
Yeah, there was a lot of COVID crap, and of that COVID crap, we bubbled up. This is what we've been doing in the last year. Figured I'd give you a little walk around.
Again?
Cut. How many times we gotta talk about this, Grampy? But man, let's start out here, huh? You got Big Bob's cart.
This isn't the one that went over the cliff.
No, it is.
It is?
Yep.
It is.
I got the scars to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, those are looking great too. Get a close up on those, Trey. Oh yeah. Safety first. But yeah, this thing is the one that rolled off a cliff. We were driving it a little bit more aggressively than we had any right to be. But it's been a beast. It's kind of our off-road, crawling, comfort-driven sort of build. It's the cushy Cadillac. Got a lot of cool compliments out at Cars and Cameras. So this cart is actually the exact same cart as my red cart back over here. But this one we kept a lot smaller. My dad's cart, we stretched it by, I want to say 10 inches and made it 5 inches longer. So it's actually got like a bigger cockpit to fit those buckets. Here I wanted to stay with the old school classic bench seat because it was in such good shape. The emotional attachment that I have to this cart, a lot of it's in that seat. If you look at before and after pictures, this is a radically different machine than it started as, but there's so much of that original Yerf Dog 3203 soul in it. I'll have to at some point show you the side-by-sides of what this started like. Like this is all completely custom built. You may or may not have seen these videos. The catalog's getting pretty deep, but...
One thing I do have to say though.
Yeah.
That seat is nothing like any seat I ever became emotionally attached to. It has happened, but it doesn't look like that.
Hey man, you gotta start somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
But check this out. This will get you emotionally attached. Ooh, quick release steering wheel, make you feel like a race car driver.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't release just before they're trying to steer off the cliff.
Yeah. This is pretty fun too. We've got a like full electrical system with high and lows, some sweet ring lights, like kind of just like driving accent lights. But yeah, this thing is sort of the more race version. So if there was like, if they made multiple trim levels of the 3203, it was my vision that this was like the sport, like stripped down track model. And then over here is your cushy optioned out, like we talked about even heated seats on this thing for the wintertime. We could get crazy with it. Yeah, backup cam's coming.
Backup cam, you don't have backup yet, right?
Right, so it's less of a backup cam and more of truly like a digital rear view, because when you have helmets on in there, you can't really see anything out the back. I have a rear view mirror, but when you get two people in there, it's so hard to see.
Yeah.
This I know you'll get a kick out of. You're a big camping guy. This is the little trailer base that I built to eventually carry that mini camper that you see over here. So, I mean, you've had your fair share of campers, pop-ups, various outdoor equipment. So I'm so curious to see what your thoughts are on this once I get it done, because that's gonna be solar. It's gonna be really cool. Have like actual powered ventilation and stuff. It's gonna be sick. And we got a mini ATV. This is our little Rascal, really fun mini bike that Go Power Sports makes. But no, man, we're getting out there. We got some really cool stuff coming, and well, I mean, that's where we're going. So let's go in and see what's getting cooked up in here. So the builds that we just looked at are close to done. There's little stuff, but the major engineering and everything is behind us, with the exception of, like I said, some tuning stuff. We got brakes to work on, things like that. But this little guy we picked up for the Cars and Cameras race. See the Dust Bowl video?
You mean down North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina,
sure.
where I raced this.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't do so hot. There's a bunch of things about this that aren't great for dirt track left-hand turning. We, played by the rules, do what we had to do, but next year it's gonna be different. We're gonna be able to set this up a lot more effective for what we wanna be doing. Got a lot of cool stuff coming on this, but this is kind of low-key. The project that I have been the most excited about, the reason I bought a lathe, the reason we're doing like all this stuff. The culmination sort of what you see here and what we've learned from these two builds is this. This right here is in many ways going to be the gnarliest thing that I've ever built. We've got tons of options and cool stuff on the big carts with the 420s, but we're going with a much lighter 225 on this. If you'd picked up one of those, the whole thing's probably about like 50 pounds, 60 pounds with the engine plate and everything on it. Feel how light this is. I mean, it's a fully aluminum block.
It's like a lunchbox.
Yeah, and this will make probably 25 horsepower when we've got it all souped up. So 25 horsepower, maybe doesn't sound like a ton, but this thing is gonna be so light and minimalistic, front and rear brakes, big old tires, Miata track width. This is the vehicle that I'm the most excited about right now. The thing that's kept us here for so long has been the lathe. I needed the lathe running so I could make that part that I showed you that's chucked into the machine right now. And we'll go look at that next, because the other thing that I'm excited about having Grampy here for is this man has a ton of experience back in the day working in machine shops over at Pratt and Whitney. Got the watch to prove it.
A few of them.
There you go. So I'd love to get you out there and show you that and just kind of.
I hear it's almost as old as me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to get you out there and give you a look at it. But yeah, that's what's holding us up here. It's just the bearing hangers for the rear. And then after that, there is nothing on this that I don't feel like I can completely just like crush through as long as we have parts. So that was the one thing that I was determined to like build here that's completely outside of anything that I've ever done. I know maybe to the average person doesn't seem like a big deal. We're taking small amounts of metal out of this pipe, but it's like to be able to do that and have the lathe and be able to do that here is just like, it opens up this crazy whole new world to me that's really exciting. So
it's fun to make your own parts, and when you put them in and they work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I did turn one thing on the lathe. One of those front hubs I had to adjust, so I got that to work. But what do you say? Should we go out there and check it out?
Let's check it out.
All right.
What do you say we're filming now?
Yeah, we're about to be. So we talked about cooling to try and keep the parts a little cooler. We talked about bring the tools in as far into the chuck as you can to get less like screeching, which I did have some of.
Tools into the tool holder.
I'm sorry.
Not the chuck.
I'm sorry. Yeah, into the tool holder.
That's another thing too, though. If you've got a long piece like this and you only cut a little bit, if you can get it further in the chuck, I mean, you've got jaws here, and there.
Yeah.
If the piece is small enough so that you can open the chuck up more and fit it in here and slide it in more, I mean, the more of this you hold,
right,
the less vibration you're going to get. That's what you want to avoid is vibration. That's why you shorten this up, try to shorten that up.
Yeah. And
coolant, it's all working on vibration. And vibration winds up being chatter marks on your work. Yeah,
I was definitely seeing some of that in the beginning when I was starting to like play with this. Oh, okay, another cool question that I'm trying to figure out. So part of what I have to do here is I have to take the inner diameter down next into like, it's at 2.9 right now. I need to take it to 3 so we can press in our Miata bearings. What I'm trying to figure out is I don't have any kind of like way to tell how far this thing moves, right? Like the adjustments on here, is this like thousandths of an inch?
Yep.
So these I can tell how I'm feeding it this way. When it comes to like trying to feed this precisely, like I want to make sure I go in 1.6 inches, I want to say, inside here. Use this.
Yep.
That's cool.
That's your only stop.
Yeah. So my thought process is, and I'm curious to hear what you would do. I would then put my boring bar in there, get everything set up, and then like measure in, set the bar at the depth that you want, come over here, set the stop, and then use that to.
Yeah, and we used to have, they were called size blocks.
Oh.
And if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you get a certain size block, and if you touch the tool on the end of the piece, and then you put the size block up here and bring this up, it's going to go the same distance as the size block is, so you can control it that way.
That's really cool. That's something I should think about.
Otherwise, you say you want to go 1.25 inches, if you cut in 1 inch and then set this and just try to gauge the quarter. You know, you can use drill bits. If you get a 1/4-inch drill bit and just kind of slip it in there to fill the gap.
Yeah.
And then you take the drill bit out. When you feed over and hit that, you know you went a 1/4 inch.
That's the kind of stuff I was trying to drag out of you today. Like those are those cool tips.
Drill bits are pretty precision tools to use for that.
Another thing I'm curious about, because at some point this is going to have to be made shorter, right? So it doesn't need to be this long. Is that too big of a thing to try and part on a lathe like this?
No.
No?
Nope.
How sketchy does that get? Like what goes into it?
Well, you're gonna go 100 thousandths bigger on the inside, right? So it's gonna be like 50 thousandths thinner wall.
Yep.
Right. Do you have a minimum wall thickness here? I mean, I would turn the outside as small as you are comfortable with it, and then you can just feed in and part it off. And if you've got it where you need a certain length, in this case you probably don't.
Yeah.
But if you wanted a certain length, I'd make a nice clean cut on this, then part it off maybe 50 thousandths longer than you need it, and then flip it around.
Face it again.
Hold it in the chuck backwards, and then clean the this end, the parted end. Be out here, you can clean it off.
Nice.
To the right dimension.
See, I'm actually in the middle of a video that was supposed to come out like yesterday, but I paused it because I knew you were coming. And that's one of the things that I got to figure out is like, how do I, what are the next operations on this part? And I think that's kind of where I want to close this thing here, because this would be so cool if we could figure this out. Say I'm not going to part this off. Is there any kind of do you support it? Or is it just like, because this is going to be spinning fast, right? When it drops, isn't it going to want to run?
Yeah. When I do it on the wood lathe, I just put a little cardboard box underneath and it drops in.
I mean, that could work.
On this, you could put something in the tailstock here and just hang it in there so that when it drops off, it's going to stay put. You know?
Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking, but I was curious to hear if that was a real thing or if I was just making it up.
But you're gonna part it off longer than you need it to finish at, so that you can flip it over and clean it up at the other end. So I would get to where you're almost broken through and then slow it down a lot, so it's not gonna take off like a missile, you know.
And would you part that? You think you would part that with one of these carbide triangles?
No, this should have a special parting tool.
I'll show you what I got. This I think is for doing grooves and stuff, but I don't think it would be deep enough to part. I may not have the right thing here.
Yeah, I don't see. You'd have to. If you use something like that, you'd have to go really long because you're getting shorter and shorter as you go in. You know.
So maybe that's where I'll.
Let me see what this is.
Go ahead.
I didn't really get a good look at that.
You can pull it out too. It's fine.
Oh, that is a parting tool. I couldn't see it.
Sorry. This is a little diagram that shows you all the things that it does.
You just plunge it right in.
Epic.
And again, you can't do. Obviously, you need a longer one if you get a thicker wall. But if you can get away with a thin wall on that, that's what I was saying on the outside. Just turn the outside down so that when you finish the inside, you're going to wind up with a 50 thousandths wall or 100 thousandths wall. You can do that with this tool.
I think what I'm leaning towards right now is I actually bought a thicker wall tube or pipe than I needed, so that we would have a more robust sort of thing to weld to. So I think what I might do is I might flip it around, turn the other side down thinner, part it off at the thinnest point, just choose a channel that kind of cut, and then maybe come back in and clean up the faces afterwards. And then, with a 3-jaw chuck, you should be able to take it out and flip it and put it back in, and it's going to be pretty concentric. And you can usually tap it around. Do you have an indicator? What do you mean?
Something that you can put on here and you've got to spin the chuck by hand. It's got to be a neutral for this, but if you spin the chuck by hand, the indicator will tell you if this is running true.
So it's sort of like like a gauge that's position and then run it, and you can see if there's variance.
It's got a dial on it that it'll go in and out as it'll show you if it's running true or not.
Yeah, see, that's perfect. Another thing that I needed on camera, so I remember to buy it on Amazon later. Or something, man.
You know what? I have one that I'm probably never going to use again, so that could be a donation.
Ooh.
TYRANIS.
Oh, that would be so cool. Probably not as applicable when you're turning wood.
Nope. That's one thing I like about wood. No blueprints.
Yeah.
I don't even make junk. I make firewood or kindling or something if it doesn't come out right.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that. Grampy, though he was a old school machinist back in the day, now turns wood. Some really sick stuff. We got to get some pictures on screen or something.
Well, I got a big bowl in the car for Donnie.
Oh, nice. Can we get some B-roll of it?
Some what?
Yeah, we'll get it. Last thing that I'm thinking about off the top of my head, and I'm sure I'll have more questions for next time, is this guy. This is your tailstock, right? Mm-hmm. So how do I'm assuming this is part of the actual machine. This is the part that's removable.
Yeah, it's a Morse taper. Should be a number 2 Morse taper in here. Mm-hmm. And this looks like it's also a 2. So they probably had a drill chuck that they put on here.
Where are you?
So it just goes on this Morse taper. That's it.
There's the one.
That's it right there.
Let me clean your taper hole.
Yeah, you gotta clean this up pretty good too.
Yeah, I got a dirty shank.
But that's what that's for.
Okay.
You should just back out. There should be a stop way back here. You keep going back until it
no way.
won't go anymore, and it should push it right out.
That's so stupid. I did the exact opposite. I went the other way until it fell out. I feel like it's stuck in there pretty good.
It's in there pretty good. But that's how it comes out. It's probably been in there for 40 years.
Nah, it's on there good.
You're gonna have to drive it out. You said you pushed this out enough so it fell out.
Yeah, it'll come out
if it comes out. There's a hole right through. You can just get a rod and knock it out.
Okay, that's what I'll have to do because I do want the option to. Yeah, here we go. I would like the option to be able to.
That hole goes all the way through. Should do that, and you could be able to just knock that out.
Cool. All right. Yeah, we can get a better look at it now.
I don't think it's a crack.
Cool.
Getting the old man dirty here.
You were a dirty old man before you walked in.
Does it show?
No, you're doing a great job.
Well, no, it's a pretty cool little thing.
Yeah, man. I've been so excited to show you my new toy, learn a bunch, and I'm just stoked because by the next time you come down, I'll have played with this thing for longer, have more interesting, stimulating questions for you, and
get a face shield. Make sure he gets a face shield.
Make sure. Yeah. Can we get a face shield sponsor? We gotta talk to somebody.
If you can find a model number on here, this is a catalog number. Maybe that'll do it.
Yeah.
And try to Google a manual, a user's manual for it. It'll tell you whether this will shut that off and tell you a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I got a lot of help from one of my buddies, Chris from WAYYYY Welding, gave me a ton of awesome information on the tooling. I sent him pictures of everything before I got to talking to you, and that in conjunction with the video that you sent me was like, okay, I know what most of this stuff does. He was like, oh, you got a cool, like, quick change tool holder.
Good addition.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even know what that was. Thank you, Chris. And you explained this cool stop to me and the tool length and like the way to attack the material. There's so much stuff to learn, and it's just really exciting. So I'm starting to actually feel confident standing in front of this thing as opposed to cowering. And part of that is I can actually see what it all says now. It's not covered in a 1/4 inch of filth.
It happens over 30 years, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, man, so glad you made it out. Thank you for all this sick info. This has been so cool. And I can't wait to have you back again when we're really making parts on this thing.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, man.
A lot of fun.
So if you want to see more of our lathe and probably Grampy and all the cool stuff that we're gonna be building on this thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Make sure you hit those notifications.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
Subscribe.